The Aurora Memoirs by Thomas Michael. Chapter 5, The Descent. The other day, I began a descent down into a space on our land that mirrored where I was about to go in my own inner landscape. Places few have traveled. Off the trail, down into the places that receive little light, that stay hidden in the undergrowth of the forest, where things stay damp unless work is done to clear and allow the sun's light and warmth to come in. I first walked down past the tree that little grows under, darker, bare moist soil. I go further down, past the place where the water drains from our ponds. You must go around to avoid the runoff from the ponds of fish that feed the marsh with their excrement. It brings forth so much life, but you must go around it to find the more hidden spaces. Pushing through the vines with thorns, some scraping my skin, almost slipping on rocks and roots, till I arrive at a hidden waterway that flows down into a darker pool. One that collects mud, but yet also partly remains clear. The space feels sort of magic in its hidden nature, but yet also a bit uninviting in its raw, rarely met features. I kneel down to greet the waters, crystal clear, but yet behind them, a dark, granular mud. In this space, I was reminded of an old Toltec practice that I learned when I was young studying Castaneda. The water's version of the obsidian mirror, a type of divination where water is worked in its reflective, lucid nature, in its movement to transverse time, space, and dimension. Something in me knew I was being called to do this practice here at the water. Curious, but yet also slightly nervous, and I wasn't sure why. I began to calm my body, my breath, opening up to the waters, letting my awareness travel into them, my inner gaze mirroring and merging with their reflections. I began to feel the dance of the water's reflections within my whole body, like pulsing waves. My sense of body then dissolves into the environment. My awareness travels into the water and it into me. Then slowly, a vision began to appear on the water's surface and in my mind's eye. I began to see a younger version of myself appear in front of me. He's in my university dorm room. It's fall of 2002 in Upper Michigan. I can see my computer desk right next to the window, down the hall from the second-story doors that were there because it would snow so much in one night that you would need them to get out. It's a small room, bunk beds, textbooks next to my computer. I start to faintly hear the album I was downloading. Ben Harper's slide guitar begins to play. I hear him singing. He then turns the music off, grabs the supplements he takes for the gym, puts them in his backpack, and walks out to head to class. He's walking around campus, a nice fall day. As he's walking, he sees a woman that he's been very enamored with walk out of one of the buildings. She notices him, so he stops to talk with her for a moment. "It's Tom, right? I met you at the party off campus the other night, yeah?" "Yeah, that's right," he says, his eyes slightly avoiding hers. "That was a fun party, huh?" "Yeah," she says. "Where are you off to?" "My philosophy 101 class, then music recording class after," he says. "Wow, cool, philosophy and music. Wish I was in cool classes like that," she says, laughing. "What do you want to do after school?" He perks up, excited that she's interested. "My best friend and I have a band. I love spiritual stuff. Our band will go on tour, and then I'll write a book, like Jim Morrison's No One Here Gets Out Alive or something. My dad says I should follow my dreams. That sounds pretty cool. I know you have to get to class. Here's my number. Maybe I can come see your band play sometime? Okay. Yeah, that would be fun, he says nervously. I'll call you when we find a practice space. He hurries now to get to his class. I can feel his excitement from getting the number. But there's something more going on, deeper. I use my breath and my intention to open up deeper to this version of myself that I'm seeing in this vision, so that I can feel more in my own body what he was going through. I start to feel, subtly, his unmet longing. I adjust my feet to stabilize myself next to the water. My body becomes slightly restless, and I breathe more into the visions. I see him now. He's walking to class. I feel his boredom. His teacher seems almost more bored than he is as she parrots lines from the textbook, from what the curriculum told her to teach. Plato, Socrates, Kant. He's already read all of these a few years ago. I feel his annoyance, then I feel his disgust with the education system in my body. I feel his anger. I hear his thoughts as if they are my own, but yet the tone is slightly different. I feel them within a different part of me. I am meant for more than this. What am I doing here? This teacher knows less about philosophy than I do. I welcome his anger, breathe it here, allow it to expand with my intention, my breath, to connect deeper with him, and I open to his needs. Then I hear in my inner ear, I need my truth honored, supported. I need to honor my truth. Now I can feel my toes starting to get cold from the water around my boot at the water's edge. A stirring over in the forest across the river, and then the vision blurs a bit as my foot causes some ripples in the water. I steady myself and open back up to the sensations. The abandonment he felt, the anger. With my intention, I breathe deeper into these spaces within me, breathing unconditional love into these spaces, forgiving him, forgiving us, allowing him to sense and feel who he has become now, what his life looks like now, through me. I can see him in his dorm again. He's just got back from the gym. He's looking at himself in the mirror, at the extra weight around his midsection, in his chest that never seems to leave. No matter how much he works out, he feels shame. I feel his added weight like an armor around my midsection. I hear a voice in my head say, emotional protection. As I connect to it more, I can feel how the gym, it helps him to feel in control, to get into his body and his health. But deeper yet, I feel an emotional hole where confidence should dwell, in his heart and spine and chest. He says to the mirror, how's that woman gonna like me if I look like this? Then, two of his friends walk in. They mock him and jest, like many college-age boys do. His supplements, his body. Grandpa Tom with all his pills, one says. Yeah, to fix a spare tire, the other says, laughing. I can feel his sadness. His hopelessness sinks in my chest, the tightness in his throat as he swallows his words and emotions. Instead of crying, he joins in the jokes with them. Grandpa Tom's got to take his pills, he says in an old man's voice. I start speaking to him now with my intention, my inner voice, directing it towards the version of him within me as part of me. the sadness and hopelessness expand, moving my intention on my breath towards where he resides within me. I invite him to connect to the truth and the divine which surrounds him as I welcome all of his emotions here. I begin to feel his shame as a sinking void in the center of my chest, moving like a snake not wanting to be seen or felt. His anger, a growing heat in my life and my liver. I start to touch the surface of the water now to help him see the truth. I invite him to experience through this current me in which he now resides, bringing him into the present to feel my body now, my fitness, so he can feel proud of who he has become. As his emotions are welcomed into me, I invite him to speak his truth to his friends, to me, to whoever needs to hear. In the mirror in which he was looking at his body, he now sees deeper visions of when his mom would soothe his emotions with food, where he had once joked with them and buried his feelings. He now turns to his friends and speaks his truth to them loudly. You're bad friends. Maybe start to encourage me. You're just jealous. I feel now all the anger, the shame, all the emotions leaving as my body shudders. I touch the water once more to reveal the deeper truth. The mirror that he was looking in now ripples. And where he once saw himself, he sees a reflection of his two friends. His eyes grow wide. Forgiveness wells up in my chest. My whole body begins to relax. Then the mirror shifts again to reveal the Divine Mother. She reaches her hand through the mirror and pulls him in. The whole vision dissolves into light, and my body fills with peace. My legs now, they start to become sore from crouching down, a bit numb, so I put my knees on the ground. I feel the water from the wet forest soaked into my pants a bit. I place my hands on my knees and focus on the water again, opening up even deeper. The water is cloudy from being disturbed by my movement. A new vision starts to appear further along during that year. I see him at a basement party, playing beer pong, chasing his pain down with shots of gin after the beers. I open up to this pain, and the vision blurs and shifts slightly. Fish, the band and their music, starts trailing off in the background. The vision shifts again as I hear the small waterfall near me start to grow a bit louder. Then I see him, he's out of the dorm now, in his first house off campus. I remember having to get this house very soon after getting to school because of trouble in the dorms and needing a band practice space. We once got robbed at what we thought was gunpoint. We never were sure if the gun was real or fake. I can see him leaving the room, staring at the band equipment. His roommate says, "Rent's coming up." I can tell he feels nervous. He's low on money. I call Mom and Dad, he thinks. They said they would take care of my bills during college. He walks outside to the front porch to call them. Deeper, he feels some shame from being in arguments with his father recently. I breathe into the expanding all the shame that he feels in my body. Now nervousness surges like static electricity in my upper chest, breathing more into what's behind all of this. His mom answers the phone. "Hey, son," she says. "Nice to hear from you. What's up?" "How's Dad?" he says, "Still drinking?" "I think he's stopped for a few days now," she says. "Yesterday, I wasn't quite sure. but I think he might have quit. His heart sinks. He knows that she knows, but she's in denial. Mom, what's really going on? How are you? Well, not that great. Your dad lost another job. They suspected he was drinking at work. Or maybe they could just smell it on him from the night before, drinking too often. Oh my God, again? What can I do, Mom? Can you just leave? Go and stay with one of your kids or something? No, I'm okay. I think he might seek some help this time. His feelings of helplessness set in. He sighs. She never listens. He never listens. My knees, now fully soaked in the water, becoming cold. The vision blurs. I put my hands down into the water now, steadying my breathing, despite the cold and wetness of my body. More mud, dark mud kicking up from the bottom. The vision starts to come into my mind's eye. I can see him now. He's in his car, alone, consuming his dinner through a straw off a metal tray that he used to roll joints on. He's very numb, disassociated, and deeper, there are so many things: sadness, despair, hopelessness, anger. He then walks into a bar with a fake ID. He's at a gig with his band. The bartender has already poured a couple shots lined up for him. He takes them and sits down to play. You can see, even the music doesn't do much for him now. His band knows he's deeper into drugs. They don't respect his desire to shape the creative direction of the music, just like his dad didn't. Without the music, or his friends, as they distance himself, I watch as he spirals deeper into a hole of numbness and addiction. Drugs, sex, trying to make more money. It's all becoming blurry. There are only sessions of void numbness, subtle tones of what was hidden behind the self-soothing. As if these parts spiral down into the mud in front of me, I close my eyes and just focus on what's going on within me. I use my breath, welcome the Divine Mother to help me. I reach out energetically down into these depths, calling forth these soul fragments back to me, into the arms of the Divine. They are frail, almost lifeless, as I begin to open up to all their feelings. Then, a crash in the forest, not too far away from me, shakes me. I feel these parts slip back into the water as I lose my balance, trying to grab them. But my left leg slips down into the mud, and I catch myself falling. The vision breaks. I just lie there, recovering, breathing, cold, wet, letting what really happened sink in for a moment. Thank you so much for being here with me on this one. Chapter 5 took me places that I wasn't always sure that I would be able to share. And the fact that you've traveled here with me matters more than I can express. If something moved in you while you were listening, maybe something came to the surface unexpectedly, I want you to know that this is not an accident. It is the medicine of this story and the waters doing what they are meant to do. And maybe this chapter found you at the right moment. If so, I would be very grateful if you shared it with one person who might need it. If you are not yet a paid subscriber on Substack, that is where the deeper conversation lives, where I share what I cannot share here, and where this community is quietly becoming something that I didn't know that I needed. The descent goes even deeper from here, and I can't wait to see you in the next chapter.